stars. So 1 is Caitlin Clark, 2 is Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers has 9% of the vote. She has 9% of the vote. It's like, vote now. Who's your favorite in this? Brightest star amongst the top 10. Guard Caitlin Clark.
The fever isn't just around individual games or specific matchups anymore. Check out the promotional materials. Examine those fan voting results. Notice whose image dominates every marketing campaign. This has evolved beyond simply moving viewership numbers upward. Caitlin Clark has become the central driving force itself. The evidence is unmistakable.
Who did they choose? They chose a picture of 16-year-old Caitlin Clark. Everything with FIBA for Team USA has been Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is on the banner. In fairness, like, obviously posting clips of Angel Reese playing at AmeriCup, which is mad. It is still mad. I don't understand how USA didn't win that AmeriCup. Like, that was a good USA team.
World Cup qualifying rounds kick off March 11th, and Team USA's marketing team made a deliberate statement. They bypassed every established veteran, ignored the Olympic champions, and centered their entire campaign around a decade-old photograph of Caitlin Clark as a teenager wearing Indiana's uniform. This wasn't a team-focused approach or a democratic representation of talent. That creative decision reveals exactly where the league's promotional strategy has shifted and what they believe will capture audience attention most effectively.
Who's your favorite star in San Juan? Caitlin Clark. And they have Paige Beckers in this one, at least. Maria Conde. It'll be interesting to see if she's going to come over and play for the Valks. Forgot about her. But there's plenty of ones for certain groups. You know, it's Caitlin Clark everywhere and FIBA's posting. That being said, you can see in the voting for who the favorite star is.
The significance becomes crystal clear when examining the data. Paige Beckers appears in identical fan polling for the Puerto Rico event, managing only 9% support. Caitlin's numbers absolutely dwarf every other category across the board. The margins aren't competitive, they're overwhelming. Organizations like TNT understand precisely what drives engagement when designing these promotional graphics, and their choices reflect calculated business decisions rather than balanced representation.
You know it as well. Like, look, if Caitlin Clark... People are wondering why TNT are getting into this when Unrivaled failed. And it's like, that is precisely why TNT are getting into this. TNT, for lack of a better way of describing it, TNT are banking on the WNBA season not happening. Or they're probably going to get the rights to the actual World Cup. They're in panic mode because TNT lost the NBA right.
TNT's situation created the perfect storm for this shift. Losing NBA broadcasting rights wasn't just about programming gaps. It eliminated their core basketball identity, advertising partnerships, and scheduling leverage. Suddenly, they had budgeted sports content money with nowhere to invest it. Women's basketball became their lifeline, but their approach was surgical rather than broad. TNT didn't invest generically in women's basketball. They made specific bets on Unrivaled with clear expectations about roster composition. The timeline reveals everything about their strategy. The Unrivaled partnership announcement came during WNBA Finals, while the league was aggressively pursuing Caitlin's participation. Television executives structured that deal, assuming certain star power would be delivering viewers consistently.
Try to get on the Caitlin Clark boom. But at the same time, it didn't work out. I reckon that TNT paid Angel Reese. That would be my guess, is that TNT offered extra money to Angel Reese because their ratings were tanking. And my guess as well is that we see them going to this.
Her absence created a devastating reality check for everyone involved. Angel Reese versus Paige Beckers in Unrivaled playoffs attracted exactly 100,000 viewers. Regular season episodes averaged around 200,000. Their opening tournament peaked at 300,000 once, then never promoted viewership figures again as novelty disappeared rapidly. Meanwhile, routine WNBA regular season games featuring Caitlin consistently exceeded 1 million viewers. Two major stars in a heavily promoted playoff game for a brand new league couldn't reach six figures. That mathematical reality makes sustainable business models impossible for networks that just lost premier basketball content.
I'm pretty sure I was if I'm not mistaken, I think I was physically in Minnesota when that happened at the WNBA Finals. And I think that was when they were talking about the full court press to get Caitlin Clark. And it's like, obviously the TV execs made a deal with Unrivaled, assuming that Caitlin Clark was going to be playing in Unrivaled. That being said, clearly
TNT pivoted immediately toward World Cup qualifier coverage, positioning themselves for full tournament broadcasting rights. This guarantees Caitlin Clark content on their network without complex negotiations, agent discussions, or competitive bidding wars. She's locked into Team USA participation, making her available through tournament rights acquisition rather than individual contracts. The theory about TNT subsidizing unrivaled injury coverage suddenly makes business sense. Tanking ratings without their primary draw forced them to justify advertising commitments somehow. Overseas injuries meant more WNBA talent available for unrivaled competition, theoretically improving content quality and viewership numbers. Even that strategy failed without the main attraction driving audience interest.
I'm pretty confident was in the close to 200,000 for the playoffs. I think it was around 200,000. Like, Unrivaled, we didn't even hear about Unrival's 1v1 viewership, which was 300,000 the first year. The novelty wore off. That people aren't even watching Paige versus Angel. At least in the WNBA, people are watching Paige versus Angel, and I think if you are Unrivaled, you know that it's like...
This dynamic creates unprecedented pressure across the entire ecosystem. Team USA constructs promotional campaigns around one individual. TNT structures women's basketball coverage, assuming her availability. Indiana markets every content piece with her image prominently featured. Fan polling isn't remotely competitive in any category. Angel Reese maintains significant popularity independently. Paige Buchers was positioned as the sport's future face before Caitlin's explosive college performance. Aja Wilson currently plays at the highest WNBA level. None generate equivalent media attention, ratings, performance, or marketing focus consistently.
Angel Reese did okay, but it was... Yeah, they had Rakia. Angel was the third highest scorer. Lauren Betts was the second highest scorer. So they had Deja Kelly, Rakia, Raven Johnson, I don't know who Abigail Sue is, Charisma Osborne, Janiyah Barker, Jewel Spear, Layla Felia. What happened to Layla Felia? She was meant to be a first-round pick for years. Angel Reese, Lauren Betts, Rhea Marshall, Chance Gray. That's not a bad team. That is not a bad team at all.
Consider that America's Cup roster composition. Rakia Jackson, Angel Reese leading scoring, Lauren Betts contributing significantly, Raven Johnson, Daisy Kelly, Charisma Osborne, legitimate WNBA caliber talent with chemistry and coaching. Their loss to Brazil should have generated major storylines, but got buried because it contradicted narratives about automatic USA basketball dominance in international competition.
So World Cup qualifiers are happening in a couple of days. The World Cup qualifiers are happening, and it's going to be a crazy one. So the first game is the 11th of March. It is the 8th, which is 3 days from now. I will be live, Jesus. Hopefully I'll be alive. But I will be live for all of the USA games, and I think it'll be an interesting one. My good old courtside 1891 subscription is going to be great. It is going to be great, you know.
Courtside 1891 subscription strategy reveals sophisticated understanding of market dynamics. Exclusive streaming rights for qualifiers generate heavy promotional pushes 3 days before March 11th games. They recognize Caitlin Clark representing Team USA creates appointment viewing that drives subscription purchases fans wouldn't normally consider. Traditional broadcasters like TNT chase basketball audiences after NBA losses. Streaming platforms build subscriber bases through exclusive access. Social media platforms compete for viral highlight content. Everyone competes for the same programming, which increasingly means competing for access to one specific athlete's participation.
I really reckon this is when Carrera comes over and plays for Liberty. Maria Conde, who I'm guessing is going to play for the Valks. She just tore her Achilles last season, so she never ended up coming over and playing for the Valks. But I would assume for $250,000 minimum, she'll be playing for the Valks. I mean, you see here with everything in FIBA, everything from FIBA has been a...
Indiana's content strategy demonstrates algorithmic awareness perfectly. Team USA clips, World Cup qualifier promotion, international basketball engagement consistently centers around Caitlin. Other players receive occasional attention, but pinned tweets, featured content, and algorithmic pushes revolve around her participation. Engagement metrics drive these decisions rather than balanced coverage approaches. Posts featuring Caitlin generate exponentially higher likes, shares, comments, and video views. Social media teams monitor these numbers constantly, adjusting strategy accordingly. This creates self-reinforcing cycles where Caitlin-focused content generates more engagement, leading to more Caitlin-focused content, perpetually increasing those engagement differentials.
America Cup, women's basketball. Yeah, I can't even remember. They lost well to Brazil. but I'm pretty sure that was a decent enough USA team. Like, I think they had a couple of players that were like on league bound.
Maria Conde was expected to join Minnesota after tearing her ACL prevented Lynx participation. World Cup qualifier voting includes her with assumptions about finally joining Minnesota for $250,000 minimum under new CBA terms. International talent like her should generate significant buzz alongside Leonie Fibic's first-round solid performance and Satu Sabali's all-star caliber play. Instead, vote percentages show them barely registering compared to Caitlin's overwhelming dominance. International stars who should benefit from World Cup qualifier promotion get completely overshadowed by the marketing machine's singular focus.
And TNT need to put money in somewhere in basketball. They're not going to get anything out of men's basketball. There's nothing people in the USA will watch. So therefore, let's chuck the money in to make sure as hell we guarantee ourselves having Caitlin Clark on TV. And like, you better believe if Caitlin Clark, TNT will freak if Caitlin Clark's not on another Team USA team. So will Nike, to be fair. So will Nike. Like, Caitlin Clark will never not make another Team USA team again. Like, it is, neither will Paige Beckers is going to make every single one. Both of them are going to be on it by merit, obviously, but neither of them are going to get screwed out of it because of Nike. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it.
This trajectory shapes the league's entire future landscape. TNT anticipates potential WNBA season disruption through labor negotiations as the current CBA expires amid lockout discussions and revenue-sharing tensions. Delayed or canceled WNBA seasons mean TNT already secured women's basketball content through World Cup coverage featuring Caitlin Clark guaranteed. She'll never miss Team USA roster selection again based on merit and marketing value recognition. Neither will Paige Buchers. USA Basketball understands global audience building requires featuring biggest draws rather than benching them for competitive balance. Nike's alignment across Caitlin's signature deal, Team USA partnership, and WNBA sponsorship creates promotional synergy throughout all entities. Signature athlete promotion influences commercial features, premium broadcast scheduling, and overall marketing priority allocation. TNT's real strategy transcends simple broadcast rights acquisition. They're purchasing insurance against basketball media irrelevance after catastrophic NBA losses. Unrivaled underperformed without Caitlin participation. International women's basketball guarantees her involvement through team selection rather than individual negotiations. This billion-dollar wager depends entirely on one player's sustained ability to deliver ratings that justify investments, satisfy advertising commitments, and maintain TNT's sports media relevance. The pressure exists regardless of whether it directly affects her performance or preparation routines. Beat reporters and media coverage operate within this environment where Caitlin access becomes premium content. Interview requests, press conference questions, and media availability revolve around securing her perspective on various topics. Insatiable demand for her content creates tension around access willingness, energy allocation for media obligations, and balancing sport representation with actual athletic performance requirements. World Cup qualifiers become testing grounds for this entire approach. TNT promotes heavily. Courtside 1891 pushes subscription growth. USA Basketball leverages star power for sponsorships and international expansion. Everything depends on Caitlin Clark's performance justifying the promotional investment and audience expectations. The fascinating element involves her complete lack of control over this positioning. She didn't request promotional campaign centrality, demand teenage photo usage in Team USA graphics, or negotiate TNT's broadcasting agreements. Yet she must deliver ratings that validate everyone else's business model decisions. This dynamic continues through upcoming WNBA seasons, World Cup competition, and whatever follows afterward. Women's basketball media infrastructure increasingly revolves around one player's marketability in completely unprecedented fashion. Even Diana Taurasi's peak years never approached this concentrated marketing focus intensity. Sustainability questions become critical for long-term planning. Can individual players carry entire media strategies for leagues, international competitions, and multiple broadcast networks simultaneously? Injury scenarios, performance decline possibilities, reduced media availability decisions could destabilize everything. TNT's assumptions about Caitlin's perpetual availability, marketability, and willingness to represent women's basketball publicly may prove unrealistic over extended periods. Strategy collapse becomes inevitable if any assumption breaks down completely. The numerical evidence speaks definitively. Angel vs. Paige playoff games drew 100,000 viewers, while Caitlin's WNBA appearances consistently exceeded 1 million. That gap represents TNT's entire business rationale for current strategic decisions. They're chasing million-viewer events that justify premium advertising rates and basketball media relevance after NBA departure. Everything depends on Caitlin Clark being the complete driving force rather than simply influencing viewership incrementally. World Cup qualifier performance will determine strategic validation or expensive miscalculation repetition. TNT promotion intensity, ratings outcomes, and casual fan engagement for Team USA games compared to Indiana regular season numbers will reveal whether this approach succeeds long-term. Regardless of results, Caitlin Clark will remain central in promotional banners, voting polls, and marketing graphics because in March 2025, she represents more than women's basketball's public face. She embodies the complete marketing strategy foundation for multiple organizations simultaneously.